don't know why they stopped the song. I was still dancing to the song. Onipa and Tumi said, good evening, welcome to the show. It's a big show tonight. It's a show that brings gladness to my heart because what happened yesterday at the UPSA auditorium where Dr. Bawumia spoke gladdened our hearts, and it gave Ghana hope. Showed the youth that there's something. And before I get into all the details, and tonight we have some fiery details to give to you on the touch screen, we're going to respond to this question of people said Dr. Bawumia was running away from something. He was running away from something about the government, and he said that he's not part of something. He never really said that, but he gave his opinion on policy. We'll go to the touch screen and show by the law why Dr. Bawumia could clearly say what he was saying in relation to the 1992 Constitution. I've heard some people use the term collective responsibility. Collective responsibility is an anathema to the 1992 Constitution. Which lawyer said that? Collective responsibility is an anathema to the 1992 Constitution. It's opposite to the 1992 Constitution. Collective responsibility is a principle in Westminster introduced by Edmund Burke, the 15th century. I'll show you all that. And then today, Ghanaians are talking on the radio this morning, collective responsibility under the 1992 Constitution. There's nothing like that. I'll show you. So we have a lot of fiery stuff to talk about based on the Bawumia presentation. But I have some dedications to make before we get into the details of the program tonight. And there's so much detail coming. Also in the studio is our mentally impaired historian, Dodu from Esiakwa. He likes me to say that. Dodu from Esiakwa, the blind historian. He's here to give us his views and perspective on this matter. Let me just shift over to the touch screen now and greet Alhaji Muhammadu Bawumia. Our graphic designer who put this together is a student. He's a free SHS student who is now in Polytechnic. He put this together. He put this together for us. He's a student in Polytechnic, and we called him and said, "Look, can you do this for us?" And he put this together for us. That's what happened. So that's Alhaji Muhammadu Bawumia. Good evening, sir. When I saw yesterday's event, I thought that we should be particularly grateful to two institutions in Ghana that have produced this brilliant man. I mean, whichever way you look at it yesterday, whether you are NDC or MPP, whether you're a politician or not, you can tell that this is the future. If it's not the future, it ought to be the future. This ought to be the future of Ghanaian politics. I think this is the most brilliant presentation of a person wanting to be president that I have seen in all the elections that I have covered. This is the most comprehensive and brilliant presentation. When I saw it, I thought I was watching Tony Blair in 1997, the kinds of things Tony Blair did that overwhelmed the entire world, and he rolled to power in 1997 and stayed on for 10 years. That's what I thought I was looking at. The combination of Tony Blair, Alistair Campbell, those people who changed Britain recently. I thought it was that. Ghanaian politicians, we have not been used to this. Ghanaian journalists have not been used to covering events like that. We know that politicians are announced, there's rally, and they talk, and they are in parliament and all of that. But this kind of presentation by a person who says, I want to be president, we have never seen it before. And you know, Dr. Bawumia had begun to change the landscape of our political expressions once he came into the picture since 2008. He had been using these policy lectures and stuff like that very effectively. And people called him a liar and all of that. So I don't know, we thought that he was not going to do that anymore. Yesterday was a total blast. Oh my goodness. What? You know, I was chatting with friends this morning and we were talking about this Bawumia phenomenon. Somebody said, do you know what Bawumia phenomenon represents? I said, no. He said, give your child a good education. Maybe you are right. I mean, when the guy speaks, you can tell that this is a look at his culture. And as we're going through the stuff, one of our young people found a video of an interview I had with Bawumia in 2011. I'll show it to you. And you will see his culture. He was in opposition then. And he was talking about the culture of politics, how we should do our politics. You will hear him. He was in opposition. Usually opposition people, they don't care too much about culture. They want to get the government out, so they say anything. This was Dr. Bawumia in opposition. I'll show it to you tonight. But back to the story of yesterday. When you watch him speak, and you are 17 years old, you can't vote. You are 15 years old, you can't vote. You are 24 years old, you can vote. You can tell that this ought to be the future. This is how the politics should be. Every politician should be able to give us a comprehensive brief of this is what I want to do about this problem, that problem, and this problem. And this is what I am doing in anticipation of this problem that may occur. The general problem is development. That's the fundamental problem we're all facing. Development and population. Because the more population we have, we can strengthen our development. But if we're not able to cope with the population, it can overwhelm our development. So the fundamental equation that every African and probably global politicians post-COVID are dealing with, that fundamental equation is the nexus between development and population growth. We need the population growth to bolster the development. But if we are not able to check the population growth in a certain way that corresponds to the development, the population growth will overwhelm the development, and then we will call them development challenges. So we have a politician, or we need politicians who can come and tell us that this problem, that problem, this is what I'm going to do. And in anticipation of this problem, this is what I'm going to do. And then they'll be able to resolve it. And then they can get in. A politician, what am I saying? I'm talking about a politician with a vision. And that's what we saw yesterday. Politician with a vision. He put out his vision. This is my vision. He doesn't worry about, I'm going to attack the opposition. They are doing that. Yes, opposition have their role. Let them do that. But I am vice president. I'm running for president. This is my vision for the country. And then you can interrogate it. I was delighted to see what was happening on radio this morning. Everybody talking about everybody having something to deal with. Even NDC people who were opponents, now they have something to deal with. They can say that, okay, he said he won't do e-levy. Okay, if he's vice president, he should cancel the e-levy now. At least we have somebody who is thinking through something, saying that I will do this for tax people. I will do this for, please get me that poster of the UTAG, the Guta president, please. We're not speaking about it, get it. The Guta president poster. So he's able to, I don't need it now. I'm just reminding him to give it to me, please. I don't need it now. So he's talking about, I don't need it now, viewers, because I want to do this dedication before we go. These two institutions, they have given Ghana something, and I want to mention it before we start the program analysis. Before we get there, I want to mention these two institutions who have given Ghana Alhaji Muhammadu Bawumia. Two ordinary institutions have produced this brilliant guy. Two ordinary institutions. This guy is now the future of our country. He's the future of the politics. If we don't have him, we have to have another politician like him. You may not want to have him. Fair enough. But he has set the denominator for us. Going forward in Ghana today, we have to have a politician like Dr. Bawumia. You don't like Dr. Bawumia, we have to have somebody like him. If we love our country, we love ourselves, we have to have somebody who can think like Dr. Bawumia. Somebody who can think through problems. Somebody who can assess the national service situation and say something about it in policy context. That's the whole point. Policy. What is the policy debate for the people we want to choose as leaders, whether at presidential level, at parliamentary level? What is the policy debate? Okay, I'm talking too much. Let's get to the meat because we have a lot to share with you tonight. Look at them. Glory be to these children, because today, these children have a hope. So these are the children from Sakasaka Primary School, where Dr. Bawumia attended. And the first dedication tonight is to Sakasaka Primary School. Look, Sakasaka Primary School, you have given Ghana something. And hopefully, all these children can turn out. This is how Dr. Bawumia was. Many years ago in Sakasaka Primary School in Tamale. Sakasaka Primary School, God bless you. The headmaster of Sakasaka Primary School, God bless you. You have given us something. This is Sakasaka Primary School in Tamale. That's where Dr. Bawumia went to school. Look at the state of it. Imagine what it was before. But this is the school that has now produced a future for Ghana. Sakasaka Primary School. God bless you. The next one is this. Tamale Senior High School. This is the school that produced Dr. Bawumia. Tamale Senior High School. So between Sakasaka Primary School and Tamale Senior High, they have together produced something very significant for us. They have produced something very significant. Very, very significant. I will now take the analysis of a few things, and then we'll get into the details of what Dr. Bawumia said. You can send me text messages. But I have this montage for you. Actually, two of them. And this one involves Fifi Kwete. And there's a montage I put together between the opinion of Fifi Kwete and the opinion of President Kufuor about Alhaji Bawumia. It's 5 minutes long. It's just to tease you before we hit the touch screen with a real analysis of what happened last night. This is Good Evening Ghana. Welcome to the show. It's live. Here it is.
very sorry for Dr. What's his name? Mahmoud Bawumia. Is that it? All he needs to do is to take a good look at what happened to Alhaji Aliyu Mahama. Is Mahmoud Bawumia actually dreaming that in the unlikely event of MPP winning power, somehow, after Akufo-Addo had run his term, he, Mahmoud Bawumia, will be made the candidate of the MPP? Are you dreaming, Mahmoud Bawumia? Are you dreaming? You don't know the party in which you are? You don't understand that if you are not an Ashanti or Nachim, you have no chance?
I have always seen him as a man of destiny.
Not the region, you need to do everything possible to ensure that that son of yours, that is an absolute disgrace and a humiliation to all of you, never rises to become the president of this country.
This young man delivered a paper at an international conference of giants from the city of London in financial world and some very powerful people of governments. And immediately he finished his address, he was going to sit down, but there was something in his statement and about him. I was president of Ghana then. In fact, till then I hadn't even spoken with him ever before. But I sent somebody, I think one of the officers with me, go and call me that young man. He came, I congratulated him, and I don't know what came in me. Prophetically, I told him, carry on like that, and you will go far.
Not the region, you need to do everything possible to ensure that that son of yours, that is an absolute disgrace and a humiliation to all of you, never rises to become the president of this country.
Then, 2008, as I was stepping down and the party had chosen president, then candidate Akufo-Addo, who later became president, somehow Akufo-Addo picked the same young man to be his running mate.
Is Mahmoud Bawumia actually dreaming that in the unlikely event of MPP winning power, somehow, after Akufo-Addo had run his term, he, Mahmoud Bawumia, will be made the candidate of the MPP? Are you dreaming, Mahmoud Bawumia? Are you dreaming? You don't know the party in which you are? You don't understand that if you are not an Ashanti or Nachim, you have no chance?
And then, at a party meeting in the Aliza Hotel, I remembered my first meeting with this young man in London and what I told him. Then it dawned on me again to more or less prophesy. I appealed to the party just to accept this man to carry on, man of destiny.
Not the region, you need to do everything possible to ensure that that son of yours, that is an absolute disgrace and a humiliation to all of you, never rises to become the president of this country.
I have always seen him as a man of destiny.
Please help Ghana so that that mistake is never made.
I have a very strong feeling he is truly the man of the moment and Ghana must accept him. So this is it. Thank you very much.
A big round of applause for His Excellency.
If you want to see that again, just tell me you want to see it again. I'll show it again. That's our montage. So it's a choice for people to make. And I'm going to start with the legal conversation, and then I'll come to the choice that people want to make, NDC, MPP, and Dr. Bawumia and John Mahama. But here's Dr. Bawumia. What can I say? Congratulations, sir. I think that was a fantastic presentation. Absolutely incredible. And we hope that Ghanaians will see, and we hope that you can win. And then when you win, history beckons, and everyone expects that you take Ghana to another level. Good luck in your quest to become president of Ghana. Now, let's check it out on so when yesterday Dr. Bawumia spoke about he will cancel e-levy. He's not in support of emissions taxes, and he's not in support of VAT and all that. Then people started talking about something called the collective responsibility of the government. Collective responsibility. There's nothing like collective responsibility under the 1992 Constitution. Who said that? I heard it on radio this morning. Many radio stations were talking about how can he run away. It's not collective responsibility. I do not even think that Dr. Bawumia was running away from anything. He was telling us the views. And please get me photographs. I forgot to tell you. Osafo Mafo, J. Ekufor, and J.H. Mensah, 3 together. Please get me those photographs. I want to use it to make an illustration. As soon as it's ready, let me know. Osafo Mafo, J.H. Mensah, and J. Ekufor. I want J. Ekufor in the middle. Osafo Mafo and J.H. Mensah. It's for an illustration. I'm coming to that. And I'm going to talk to viewers about HIPIC initiative and what happened then. Under our constitution, under our arrangement, a vice president is working for the president. Every minister appointed under Article 78 is working at the behest of His Excellency the President. This is the Westminster Principle. And it is here. The collective responsibility in British parliamentary system. It is only there in the British parliamentary system that they mention collective responsibility. What is collective responsibility in Ghanaian political context? There's no collective responsibility in Ghanaian political context. It's about the president. And I'll tell you, I'll show you that in the law. Collective responsibility in British parliamentary system. If a vote of no confidence is passed in parliament, the government is collectively responsible, leading to the entire government resigning. A new government may be formed, or a general election may be called. This means that the cabinet in its entirety is collectively responsible for the actions of the members. Now, British parliamentary system, in the British parliament, the prime minister is indirectly elected. The election of the prime minister is indirect. The prime minister is elected together with the other people. So the prime minister runs a contest in his constituency. And then the convention is that the imperial authority will select the leader of the party with majority in parliament. So if you're an independent member of parliament in Britain, forget it. It's never going to happen for you to be prime minister. The leader of the party with majority in parliament is selected by the imperial majesty to be the prime minister. And therefore, he's not directly elected by the people. Tony Blair used to be in a constituency. I can't remember what it's called now. I've forgotten. But assuming Tony Blair was in a constituency called Enfield Southgate as prime minister, that is where he's elected. Only them elect Tony Blair. The people in Birmingham don't elect Tony Blair. The people in Manchester don't elect Tony Blair. They elect their leader. When they have finished counting the votes and the Labour Party has more votes than the Conservative Party, then Imperial Majesty will appoint the leader of the Labour Party, which is already predetermined. By the time they are going into the election, they know who is the leader of the Labour Party. He leads the campaign. He travels to constituencies to campaign. He meets interest groups and tells them his policy, etc., etc. So that's how the British system works. That is what works in Britain. So when he comes into prime ministerial relationship, and that's why he's called the prime minister, he's described as the first among equals. He's equal with the rest. The prime minister is equal with the other ministers. He's just the first amongst them. So he goes to take instructions from the imperial majesty. He goes to meet imperial majesty once a week because he's the prime minister. So the principle of collective responsibility is that there in Britain, they are able to pass a vote of no confidence, yes or no, in the prime minister during the tenure of his office. That vote of no confidence is not available under the Ghana Constitution. The Ghana Constitution has nothing called passing a vote of no confidence in the president. Nothing. You can impeach the president and he's gone. But you can't pass a vote of no confidence in the president. That occurs in Britain. I was totally shocked this morning that on Ghanaian radio this was being discussed and was being espoused as some principle that has been violated by Alhaji Bawumia. I was totally shocked. The principle of collective responsibility cannot operate under the Ghana Constitution of 1992. It does not and it cannot. And I'll show you in a minute. I'm just beginning the analysis here. This is the British parliamentary system. That's what we were taught in political science. The distinction between the British parliamentary system and the American political system is the presence of a vote of no confidence. That is available in England. It's not available in the United States. It's not available in the Constitution of Ghana. So that this collective responsibility is for them. So when they pass a vote of no confidence, You can't say that you are defense minister. You are not the prime minister. So if the prime minister is against whom the vote of no confidence has been passed, he goes, no. The collective responsibility is that when the vote of no confidence is passed in parliament, the entire government goes. Whether you are the prime minister or you are not, for the fact that you are part of the government is dissolved and a new election is called. They may win again and form another government, but the government, once a vote of no confidence is passed, every member of the government is dissolved. The entire government is dissolved. That's the principle of a vote of no confidence. When did it become part of Ghana's constitutional arrangement? When? When did it become part of it? It's because it's politics and people are looking to chastise Alhaji Bawumia. So he says that I don't support e-levy, and then they say, oh, it's a collective responsibility. Who told you that? Please, let's learn. Let's learn. Let's learn. This collective responsibility is not there. It's this. It's British Parliament. Nothing to do with the Ghana Constitution. Now, I will show you now how the Ghana Constitution operates so that you see that there's absolutely no collective responsibility under the Ghana Constitution. Here we go. Oh, no, not 58 first. 57 first, please. 57. I'll start with 57. I come to 58. Go. 57. Oh, okay. So I'm doing 57. I hope I have 57 2. You have a 57 1 and 2. No, this is a cabinet. 57. What you showed me, 57. Do you have 1 and 2? But I'll start with 57 though. All right. I'll go to 58. There shall be a president of the Republic of Ghana, who shall be the head of state and the head of government, and commander-in-chief of the Ghana Armed Forces. I need 57 2. You showed it to me. Sorry, because I'll come to that. No, 57. 57 2. There. Okay. Then let me do 57 again and come. No, it's 57 2. I need it. Okay, 57. Let's get back to 57. 57, please. And I take it on. All right. So, sorry, viewers, for that mix up. Let's get back to the conversation now. I showed them 57 1 and 2. I needed the 2, but I think they don't have it. Okay. 57. Article 57 is on the executive. There shall be a president of the Republic. Please tell them to get me 57 2 now. I need it. It's very important for the analysis. 57 1. There shall be a president of the Republic of Ghana, who shall be the head of state and the head of government, and commander-in-chief of the Ghana Armed Forces. You can see that. A head of state and a head of government. Sorry, let me take a short break. I need to get 57 1 2 and 58 3. Viewers, I need to take a short break and then I'll come back to you. So let's take the break at this time. Kofi, please play your insert during the break. Let's take the break. Let's take the break now and then we can come back to it. We'll be right back.
How far with your internship?
To be honest, I'm so nervous about starting this new role on Monday.
Oh, please. I know you'll be great at it. You should be worried about what benefits they have. Example, do they have health insurance?
I doubt they will have that for internet. But no shaking. I have NHIS already.
After you son a line, ting.
Ina, look at you. What are you going to do in your office when you can just download the app to register for an NHIS membership?
Yes, my people. You heard right. You can now download and register your membership on my NHIS app. No long queues or tedious paperwork. All you need is your Ghana card to register for yourself and for others. Once you register, you get a new digital NHIS card on your phone. My NHIS app gives you access to credentialed health facilities and services across the country. NHIS covers over 95% of disease conditions in Ghana. Access to healthcare just got easier.
Now let me sign up quickly. Please, Seth, I'm starting work next month.
Discover the perfect blend of quality, modern elegance, and affordability with Kingdom Home Real Estate. At Kingdom Home Real Estate, we cater to both local and international clients, offering exceptional housing options in Ebri and Ekropong. Our properties are conveniently located, providing a tranquil atmosphere, top-notch security, and essential amenities such as electricity, water, and backup generators. Our strategic locations offer easy access to popular tourist destinations, all within a 30-minute drive from Accra. Visit us in Ekropon, right after the Latte Junction, or in Ibri, near the Ibri Girls Senior High School. Alternatively, you can reach us Kingdom Home Real Estate, where your dream home becomes a reality.
We are back, bringing you the latest lineup from Betway. Betway starts strong with their front two, with Free Play Friday and Swipe Bet. In the middle, you've got all the control with Cash Out and Build a Bet. Plus, with Win Boost, you can boost your sports bets. At the back, they have Smart Picks and the Partial Daily Jackpot.
You always get way more with Betway.
These adverts have been vetted and approved by the Gaming Commission of Ghana. Bet responsibly. No under 18. Terms and conditions apply. Betway. Get way more.
Everything 12 January, I got him say about Afcon every year. My Afcon and Soja call. I won't feel Hisense TV, Afcon TV, and a sound system. Yatisu say who? A Hisense Afcon double promo. The best you Afcon beer. I love Afcon beer. Can you clear our Hisense and the Afcon TV show? Sadamna Yedida. Nasa commentary Nusu Chagua. Tieni clear our Hisense sound system so. Bora Hisense showroom bia. Na ube usa Titi TV any sound system so. Esan Afcon inti. Sa uta dia wa Hisense ya. Wasumu Jones. Hisense nkuane ma 5 years manufacturer defect warranty. Sa Afcon radio. Yama nije no anya double. If he say Hisense mo hama mo. Hisense. Yede bona to football. Esan football inti.
Enjoy the fruits of your labor, they say. But as humans, aging and physical infirmity stands our way of enjoying our mansions and homes. It often becomes challenging, if not impossible, to use our stairways day in, day out. With portable American pneumatic vacuum elevators, PVs, you are assured of unlimited enjoyment of your mansions and homes. It's a self-supported elevator for vertical movement of humans and goods at homes and offices. The original comes in 3 custom-made models with wheelchair accessibility. Call it luxury, but it's a necessary imperative for vertical mobility. Do not let aging or infirmity limit you. Get one for your easy vertical mobility at home. It's affordable and can be installed in just 3 days without modification to your existing building. It's however easier to incorporate it at the construction stage. We also have traditional Fuji elevators and escalators for your high-rise buildings and malls. Visit Lifts and Elevators Company Limited at Sakumono for your elevators nationwide. For free consultation to call or WhatsApp us on 0200-535-515. Lifts and Elevators, the elevator people.
For over 20 years of serving the world with herbal and alternative medicine, we've been successful in treating complicated medical conditions with a perfect combination of herbal and alternative methods of treatments like homeopathy, naturopathy, reflexology, and many more. We deliver excellent and effective service to people from all walks of life through scientific and traditional means. We have a well-equipped laboratory with advanced diagnostic and treatment devices to help detect your illness, so we know the right medication to be given. At Amen Scientific Herbal and Alternative Medical Hospital, we are proud manufacturers of our own herbal medication. Our zeal and passion to save lives with our patients at heart and outstanding achievements since 1996 has won us several awards. That is why we say, go herbal, go Amen. We are located everywhere in all the regions. Amen Scientific Herbal and Alternative Medical Hospital. Allahu Shafi, God is the healer.
Customer.
Mitra 10 Ghana.
10 Ghana.
10 Ghana cedis.
Na no dia, send na obenya.
10 Ghana cedis no. Media. 54,000 Ghana cedis.
54,000.
540 million.
Yeah, the one who make comedy is Kasek.
Yeah. And then I get it's now way. It's now aboki. Ah, draw no na sas here no. Mami me volume. Customer. What
One of our daily lucky winners. Dial *946# to play now. Or you can also play online at www.gamepackgames.com. Game Park is regulated by the National Lottery Authority.
Okay, we are ready now. Let's get a British Parliament one first. And so, viewers, I was saying that yesterday there was Dr. Bawumia has spoken about his intentions to abolish e-levy, his intentions to abolish emissions tax and some taxes. And he's been chastised this morning for shedding the collective responsibility in Parliament or collective responsibility of the government. So we have been explaining that collective responsibility has nothing to do with 1992 Constitution. It's opposite the 1992 Constitution. There's nothing in the 1992 Constitution, in this Constitution lying in front of me here, that talks about collective responsibility of the government. Collective responsibility is a phenomenon that is akin to the Westminster Parliament only. And those parliaments that operate like that, those parliaments that operate the British parliamentary system. And we learned that in political science a long time ago, and they are still learning it. So that's what collective responsibility is about. I was totally shocked this morning when I heard people talking about he's running away from collective responsibility, as if we are in the British Parliament discussing British parliamentary matter. And I was explaining that, thank you, Nana Hesi Ojiri, one of our viewers, sent me the name of Tony Blair's constituency, Setchfield. I remember that, Setchfield. That's Tony Blair's constituency. Thank you for reminding me. Enfield Southgate was one of the politicians I thought should have been British Prime Minister. He's called Michael Portillo. He was for Conservative at Enfield Southgate. Very nice man, very good politician, Michael Portillo. I don't know where he is these days. But yes, so Prime Minister Tony Blair wins Setchfield. That's where his Labour Party parliamentary candidate, Setchfield, is Tony Blair. Tony Blair also happens to be the leader of the Labour Party. But his constituency is one constituency. So the people who vote in London, they don't vote for Tony Blair. They vote for their Labour MP or their Conservative MP. The people who vote in Manchester, they don't vote for Tony Blair. They vote for their MP or constituency MP. That was the system that Ghana used to operate. And that's why we said here that Kwame Nkrumah never won a presidential election and everybody was screaming at us. Because Kwame Nkrumah only won election at Ododio. The people in Crawford, they didn't vote for Kwame Nkrumah. They voted for Blay. The people in Asokwa, they didn't vote for Kwame Nkrumah. They voted for another CPP person. The people in Anglon, they didn't vote for Kwame Nkrumah. They voted for Komlak Bedema. Komlak Bedema is also CPP. But Kwame Nkrumah is the leader of the CPP. So when the CPP wins the majority in Parliament, Kwame Nkrumah then is appointed by the Imperial Majesty to become the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister is only Prime Minister. He's the same as every minister, but he's the first among equals. That's about it. He is not one individual distinct as the first gentleman of the land. No, there's nothing like that. That is for the head of state, the Imperial Majesty. They have what they call a bicephalous executive. Bicephalous, sorry, it's Latin. It just means separated. So they have an executive that has this head of state and then the head of government. We have an executive that is merged. America has an executive that is merged. In those places where the executive is merged, that executive faces a direct election. Everybody in Ghana elected Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, 50% plus one of us elected Nana Akufo-Addo. And Nana Akufo-Addo was on the ballot in every village. It's not the Westminster system that he's on the ballot in his constituency. That is where they do the collective responsibility. And I read it. It's here. Collective responsibility in the British parliamentary system. If a vote of no confidence is passed in Parliament, the government is collectively responsible, leading to the entire government resigning. A new government may be formed or a general election may be called. This means that cabinet in its entirety is collectively responsible for the actions of its members. That's collective responsibility. It's akin only to the UK Parliament and to the Westminster political system. It doesn't apply to Ghana. So why were people talking about that? In any case, I don't think that Dr. Bawumia was running away from anything. He said that this is a policy that he doesn't agree with. If he is in the chair, these are the policies that he will take. If he is in the chair, this is what he will do. Whilst in the chair, this is what he has done, and this is what he has done, and this is what he's done. What is the problem about it? I mean, you can be a minister and disagree. Okay, now let's get to and also I'll come back to something he said and remind me about. He said that he's the mate and he's not the driver. Dr. Bawumia was being sarcastic. I don't know whether you remember. Julius Debra said something that Dr. Bawumia is the mate. He cannot. We'll get there. No, tonight is going to be interesting. Tonight is going to be fun. Let's get to the Ghana Constitution now. Understand the role of the Ghana president, the Ghana vice president, and see whether there's something in this constitution called collective responsibility. Let's begin with Article 57 on the executive. It says, there shall be a president of the Republic of Ghana who shall be head of state and head of government and commander-in-chief of the Ghana Armed Forces. So this article is telling us that here in Ghana, we operate a monocephalous executive. That's how they call it in Latin, monocephalous. We operate a monocephalous executive. Mono means that the executive person carries both the head of state responsibility and the head of government and is commander-in-chief of the British Armed Forces. The British Prime Minister is not the commander-in-chief of the British Armed Forces. The commander-in-chief of the British Armed Forces is King Charles. If King Charles is not there, it's the Prince of Wales. It's not the British Prime Minister. He doesn't come in the line of the list. Nowhere. He cannot command the British Armed Forces. It is the King who commands the British Armed Forces because they have a bicephalous executive. Here in Ghana, the executive president is the head of state, he's the head of government, and he's also the commander-in-chief of the Ghana Armed Forces. That is different. Completely different. So that's your collective responsibility. Leave it in Westminster. Don't bring it to Accra. It doesn't operate at the Jubilee House. Neither does it operate in Parliament House. Let's see Article 58 and then it will be clearer to us. Oh, Article 58, I need one. Where is it? Okay. Article 58, where is the first one? 1. Okay. So Article 58, continuing on the executive. The executive authority of Ghana shall vest in the president, singular, not plural. The executive authority of Ghana shall vest in the president, and it shall be exercised in accordance with the provisions of this constitution. I've not hit the nail on the head yet. I'm coming there, but I'm just building a background to it. So this is Article 58.1. The executive authority of Ghana shall vest in the president, 1, and shall be exercised in accordance with this constitution. This means that the president carries all executive authority and he's limited by the provisions of the constitution. So the president cannot do something that the constitution frowns upon, and the president cannot act ultra-vires, alter the powers given to him under the constitution. That means the president cannot take more powers than given to him under the 1992 constitution. This is in 58.1. Let's move on. 58.3. Subject to the provisions of this constitution, the functions conferred on the president conferred on the president by clause 1 of this article may be exercised by him either directly or through officers subordinate to him. So that is 58.3. It says that the authority given to the president can do it himself, or he can choose another person to do it. He either does it himself or he chooses another person to do it. Now this is where it becomes interesting, and that is why 4 comes after 3. I'll show you 4. So the question is, how do we know that in exercise of this function by this minister, it was the president that has asked him to do it, or he was doing it himself, or it was the president himself? Where do we put the blame? Because the constitution says that the president may do it himself, or he may ask another person to do it. So the president can ask me to do some of his activity for him. The president can ask you to do some of his activity for him. That's why he appoints ministers plenipotentiary. That's why he appoints ambassadors at large to carry out the exercise of the presidential authority around the world in Ghana for him. The president may appoint the chief of staff to do something for him. The president may ask Attorney General to do something for him. The president may ask Interior Minister to do something for him. Now, the context of the legal analysis is this. When the president has asked somebody to do something for him, and the general public is not told, because we will not always be told, how do we interpret these actions of these people? The framers of the constitution were great. They were wise. It was as if they knew today will happen. They knew that somebody will come, be vice president, be campaigning for president, and say something, and they will say that he's part of it. The framers of the constitution were aware. So let's move to 4. And we'll see it clearly here. 58.4. Except as otherwise provided in this constitution, or by a law not inconsistent with this constitution, Now, please, viewers, hear this clearly. This is the most important one. All executive acts of the government shall be expressed to be taken in the name of the president. Every executive act of this government, any government in Ghana, under the 1992 constitution, whether it was taken by vice president, whether it was taken by finance minister, whether it was taken by local government minister, everything shall be expressed to be taken in the name of the president. Because he's directly elected by the people. It is about him. It is not about anybody else. You can give him advice. He may decide that he won't take it. The Council of State advice is not binding on him. It's not. He may decide that he won't take it. All the institutions, the bodies of advice is not binding on him. Where the exercise must be done in a certain way, like his relationship with the Judicial Council and so on and so forth, is provided by regulation. Even when Parliament passes a law, the president can decide that I will not sign. And Parliament must have 2/3 of its members to overturn the president's decision. That is the president of Ghana. He's an individual. He's the highest recognized Ghanaian. He's not prime minister. He doesn't do collective responsibility. Collective with what? Was he on the ballot with other people? He was on the ballot by himself, president of Ghana. It is all executive decisions, whether he knows about it, whether he doesn't know about it. So you're sitting down at Tamale Refinery. You are the managing director, and you take a decision. So long as the court considers what you did as an executive decision, that decision, according to Article 58(4), shall be expressed to be taken in the name of the president. What is the problem with this? I thought our journalists would be educating people this morning and said, hey, no. Wait a minute. That's what Julius Debra was saying in 2016. We'll show it to you. Julius Debra was agreeing with this principle. Wait a minute. This is the law. In Ghana, we don't have collective responsibility. We don't have it. Anybody who told you that is a liar. He didn't tell you well. We don't have anything called collective responsibility in Ghanaian law. Zero under the 1992 constitution. There's nothing like collective responsibility. This is the provisions of the constitution. It says that except as otherwise stated, all executive acts of the government shall be expressed to be taken in the name of the president. I can buy into the mind of the constitution and look at what they meant by except as otherwise provided. And I can find an example in the work of the Attorney General. Some of the decisions of prosecution of the Attorney General, they are to be expressed as a legal opinion of the Attorney General. And I'm guessing that it is in those circumstances where the law says as otherwise provided. Because that is the decision of the Attorney General. The decision for a prosecution by the CID to be carried out, the decision to enter a nolle prosequa, the decision to... It is by the Attorney General, who is the principal legal advisor to the government. That is the reason why the Attorney General is the only minister created by the Constitution. The Constitution didn't create a Minister of Finance. So government can operate without a Minister of Finance. After all, Kutu Achampong was his own Minister of Finance, isn't it? Government can operate without any minister, but government cannot operate without an Attorney General because it will be violating Article 88, which makes provision for the office of the Attorney General, the Minister of Justice, and the principal legal advisor to the government. It is in those circumstances that 58(4) will be starting by saying except as otherwise provided. All of that done, all executive acts of the government shall be expressed to be taken in the name of the president. Now let's go to the cabinet, the so-called cabinet, and the cabinet has taken a decision, and if cabinet takes a decision, it's binding on everyone. Some things they were saying on radio this morning. I was surprised. Anyway, so by the way, I heard a very big argument happen on GTV this morning with Miracle Sabwaji being confronted about some matter, and people were talking about it. They were wondering why. Anyway, we'll talk about that later. Article 76 of the Constitution, the cabinet. There shall be a cabinet which shall consist of the president, the vice president, and not less than and not more than 19 ministers of state. What is the role of the cabinet? 76(2). The cabinet shall assist the president in the determination of general policy of the government. That's what the cabinet is there to do, to assist the president in the general determination of the policy of the government. So there's a government subcommittee called the Economic Management Team. They are doing the work of the cabinet, which is to assist the president in the determination of general policy of the government. What is Economic Management Team? Economic Management Team is not constitutional, but it's a very good thing. Economic management team is a very good thing. It is a very good thing. But it's not constitutional. It was created by the intelligence people of the NDC2 government. My friends, Kwame Na Ahoy, Ato Ahoy, Totobi Kwache, Kwame Pepra, all those people who created Professor Mills as a vice president in 1996. It was their idea that in order to strengthen the vice president's office, so that's why that period we don't remember a chief of staff. It was Nana Atodazi, but his role was not really clear. The first chief of staff we remember was Kojon Pinim, Jacob Echebelamte, Kojon Pinim, and others. Nana Atodazi was there, but the role of the vice president had been bloated quite a bit, technically bloated, to make Professor Mills particularly relevant and make Professor Mills actually the leader of the government's thoughts. This was where economic management team came from. Professor Mills, they wanted to make Professor Mills the leader of the government thought. So they created this economic management team for Professor Mills to head. JJ was enamored of Professor Mills, no doubt about that in those days. So he agreed. And that's where economic management team came from. It's a good thing, and it's good we keep it. For instance, they had Presidential Advisory Council. Mills had one. Kufuor has one. Akufo-Addo has never had one. What's the point about it? So does it mean it's a good thing? But Akufo-Addo is making his decisions as the president. And Dr. Bawumia was not running away from the government record. He was telling us that when it comes to e-levy, back there, he gave different advice. But the advice, whether it's taken or not, is the decision of the president. And who says that Akufo-Addo is not willing to defend his record? He is going to run a sessional address to Parliament very soon. You hear him. He is very confident in defending his record about free SHS, etc., etc. When the president has taken a policy decision, it may look bad now, it may look good later. It may be good today, it will become bad later. Whatever it is, posterity will judge the president of Ghana who secured the majority votes from the people to run a government for 4 years and perhaps to run another term for another 4 years. It's a political question that will be answered by the people today, tomorrow, and every day, because posterity will continue to judge. In 2008, those of you who are in Ghana, if you pick Ghanaian media 2008 and look at the ratings of J.A. Kufuor, president of the day, it will be far below even zero. If you look at the propaganda that was spewed against him, it will be far below zero. Today, everybody calls Kufuor a hero because we now see the sense in what he did in terms of the policy initiative that he created. So a policy decision by a president is for the president, is by the president. He takes the decision and faces the political question. And that's what I'm saying. And as we have seen, it may be bad today, but tomorrow it will look good. It will be good today. Tomorrow it can look bad. Whatever it is, posterity will judge. What is important is that the leader had conviction in making that decision, and a leader, before he becomes a leader, has a vision to deliver something for the people of Ghana. That's what it's about. So I'm very confident, and those of you who know Akufo-Addo will tell you, Akufo-Addo is going to defend his record. He's going to be in parliament and talk about it. He's going to give data, because sometimes the atmosphere can make people make a judgment that may be absolutely wrong. The atmosphere can make people make a judgment of a government is bad when it's actually not bad. It all depends on the atmosphere, the political temperature. All of that helps in making that decision. But in sober moments, when we have crossed the line and have crossed many weeks, we come back to Kufuor and say that he was a hero. The same Kufuor that everybody was condemning because of NDC propaganda in 2008, because they needed to win an election. It wasn't about policy. It wasn't about issues. It was just about an agenda to make people look bad. And say things that are not true about people. People believe that Kufuor had done something wrong, and it turned out that Kufuor had not done anything wrong. Okay, now here is the pictures I wanted. This is the colossal J.H. Mensah, who was Minister of Finance in 1969 when John Kufuor was Deputy Minister. They have a relation though. This is Yao Osafo Mafo, who is a very experienced person. I'm talking about the HIPIC. When HIPIC was given, I can tell you viewers for free tonight, that the HIPIC decision was opposed by J.H. Mensah, who was senior minister to the government. It was also opposed by Osafo Mafo, who was Minister of Finance to the government. It was a decision made by J.A. Kufuor. It was a single decision taken by the president. And I'll tell you another experience still on this matter. On that day when the 2001 budget was presented to Parliament, I was in Parliament that day. I think I was with Samens. And we had obtained, in those days, it was normal for Joy FM to try and obtain the budget statement. We did it in 2001. I think they started doing 99. So we had obtained the budget document whilst we got into Parliament from our sources at the Ministry of Finance. The three of us happened to be standing with the Minister for National Security, Albert Kandapa. At that time, he had just passed vetting to become Minister for Energy. Very powerful minister and a very exciting person. Kandapa was a friend of the youth, so we all sort of coalesced around him. He was a member of Parliament for a Fiji secretary. I shall never forget that. So in the budget document, as the preparation of the document or the preparation of Parliament was going on, My attention was drawn to by some men that look at section 35. I still remember it, 35. It said that Ghana will access the HIPIC initiative. I said, wow. So there, because, let me give you the back. Before then, there was the British Minister for International Development had been flown in town. I forget her name now. It will come. And she was campaigning for Ghana to sign up to HIPIC. By that time, Jubilee 2000 was also doing their push for the world to forgive debts of African countries and all of that. Akoto Ampah was leading it, so I was aware of it. And we knew that J.H. Mensah was against us. We were going to ministers' offices to try and get a sense of a sniff of what the government is going to do. So ahead of the budget preparation, it was a very big story whether the budget itself was going to contain the announcement or not. The budget was to be presented by Osafo Mafu. And he was going to read the budget. He's finance minister, and we're aware that he was not particularly inclined to this HIPIC idea. So we didn't know what will happen. Then it was there. 35. The government has decided to assess the HIPIC initiative. Okay. So we told it to Kadapa. He was surprised. He's a minister of cabinet. He's a communication. He was surprised. And he said, oh, they've taken the decision. And we said, yeah. Now, this is the interesting part. Clearly listening to Osafo Mafu, reading it. So I was looking at it as Osafo Mafu was reading it. He was going on, reading it. Then he got to section 35. The 35 that I remember said that Ghana assess HIPIC initiative. Then Osafo Mafu paused and said, Mr. Speaker, I have been directed by His Excellency the President to inform the House that Ghana will access the HIPIC initiative. Not in many of those sentences would the Osafo Mafu proceed with, I have been directed by the President. But in this particular one, he said, I have been directed by the President. That's what he told the Parliament. So that HIPIC initiative was a decision of the directly elected President, John Majekum Kufuor. J.H. Mensah thought it was bad. Osafo Mafu thought it was bad. Posterity has come. What do you think about HIPIC? Some people will say it was good. Some people will say it was bad. But that is what the executive presidency is about. The president makes a decision. And it's a political question. He can be judged anyhow. So that I've not forgotten that afternoon. I went to Doa Jaho had just become the Doa Jaho, of course, the Right Honorable Speaker, was at that time the minority chief whip. He had been majority chief whip and transitioned to minority chief. So I went to his office that afternoon, soon after the budget. And I showed you, I said, Charlie, look at this, Honorable. They've taken the HIPIC decision. He said, yeah, but what's wrong with it? I said, but why did Osafo Mafu say at that place that I have been directed by the president? I was say, come, let me show you the budget. Come, the one that came to Parliament, not the concern one you go from finance. The one that came to Parliament, come, let me show it to you. Then he showed it to me. At the top, it's written, the budget of His Excellency, the President of Ghana. You can check, ask parliamentary reporters, check, they will tell you. The budget that goes to Parliament is the budget of His Excellency the President. It is only read by the Finance Minister because the President has given him that responsibility so to do. And Doa Jaho told me that afternoon that Kwame Nkrumah used to read his own budget. And I said, oh wow, he said, yes, the budget is the President's budget. The budget is the Finance Minister's budget. That is why in this 8th Parliament, we have seen another person other than the Finance Minister read the budget appointed by the President. It was the president who decided that Chairman Sabosu should read this budget because Kenofurata is not available. It's a decision of the president because it is his budget. It is not your budget, my budget. It's not the vice president's budget. It is the president's budget. And the president will defend his record. And I bet you Akufo-Addo is going to descend on Parliament and defend his record. So what was Bawumia running away from? He wasn't running away from anything. He was saying that on e-levy, I have a different view, and I still hold my different view on that. But that is the beauty of a government. There's a book written by Lincoln, and it's written about Lincoln and Lincoln's government. It's entitled A Team of Rivals. Those of you who like to read, journalists who are interested, look for the book, A Team of Rivals. That's how Abraham Lincoln's cabinet was described. It was described as a team of rivals. It was said to be the cabinet that aided American policy the most. But they were a team of rivals because they never agreed on anything. And all of them were very brilliant people. So by the time the idea is honed, it becomes a powerful idea. The way the idea is implemented and the way the idea comes, it's become such a powerful idea. Lincoln's government. So an executive government like in America or in Ghana does not do collective responsibility. It is the decision of the president. The president is assisted by his ministers. Ministers may agree, may disagree. Finally, the president makes the decision. So if Muhammadu Bawumia says that, I wasn't particularly excited about e-levy. So when I'm president, I will not do e-levy. And then they say he's running away from something, he's running away from the mess, he's running away from what? He said the president gave me responsibility to deliver digitization. I delivered it. The president gave the responsibility to another person to do that. There's economic management team, but it doesn't have binding powers. Economic management team was a creation of some very smart NDC people who wanted to build an empire for Professor Mills, an empire of political dominance and policy leadership for Mills. That's why they did economic management team. It is for some clever people. It's not a creator of the 1992 constitution. It's not a creator of parliament. It's not a creator of the judiciary. It's a creation of some intelligent minds who wanted to create something for their friend who had been vice president. Everyone else after that thought it was a good idea, so they maintained it. It is truly a good idea, but it's not a creation of the 1992 constitution. So if a vice president who is chairman of the economic management team says, we are proud of the advice we gave, not all advice was taken. Not all advice of the economic management team will be taken. It's a decision of the executive president who is directly elected by the people. Julius Debra is here. 29th October 2016. Julius Debra said, in every moving vehicle, there is someone behind the steer and a driver's mate. The driver determines which direction the car moves. The mate may have a say, but the driver takes the ultimate decision. In this simple analogy, President John Mahama is the driver. Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, a vice presidential candidate, will be the driver's mate should Nanado win, and cannot have ultimate power. If he proposes something for you and Nanado says later, there is nothing he can do about it. Julius Debra was addressing voters in the north when they were comparing President Mahama, and this is how history comes to haunt all of us. And this is where we will bring our presentation on the Mahamudu Bawumia first part to a close, and then go and look at some of the things he said. Yeah, and then, I mean, yes, it's good. It's a good time to introduce this one. And this is Gutta President saying that Bawumia's vision, and I like the way he puts it, I like the way he received it. It is a vision of a leader. We are looking for a vision. A leader who is going to produce a vision for us. That's what we are looking for, isn't it? That's what we are looking for. Bawumia's vision, he says, I am overly excited because this is exactly what I want to hear. It means he has been listening to all the things we have been saying. Dr. Joseph Obeng is the president of GUTA, that's Ghana Union of Traders Association. That's what he said. It's a vision. So let's have all the visions and let's interrogate all of them. It's a vision. Is it not a vision? It's a vision. Okay, let's get now to some of the things that Dr. Bawumia had said before we get to do this. Before we get to, we don't have that yet. Okay, let's go over to, let's hear Dodu's preliminary remarks and then see what our text message people have for us. We'll come back to that in a minute. Yes. Fatih, let's start with you.
Here says, absolutely agree with you, Paul. Government policies are for short, medium, and long terms. President Akufo-Addo is truly one of the best in our history. Now, Nyame Nehine says Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is the only presidential candidate whose vision aligns with the fourth industrial revolution before us. His digitalization agenda is the future, and the youth of Ghana should understand that fully. Emmanuel says, good evening, Paul. Watching you every day is like being in the lecture hall for a semester. You really educate us all the time. Please keep on enlightening us, and thanks to your crew. Nshaba Anelka says, Paul, seriously, the vision and wisdom of our new leader, Dr. Bawumia, is unmatched, and also he will be a fine president after Nanado. Ibn Bayan says, Honorable Paul, DMB is the kind the young generation is looking for. Ghana needs to embrace the golden opportunity for our promising future. Master Planner Junior Hayes says, Dr. Bawumia is a blessing to this nation. My eyes are filled with tears. Ghanaians, let us not miss this great opportunity. Let us vote for Dr. Bawumia if we want this country to move forward. And lastly, Sugri Jana says, great minds at work. Dr. Bawumia is the new way to go. With his industrial revolution, we can't afford to lose that.
Yeah, so people are talking about Paul's presentation. Nathaniel Kwate says, wow, Paul, you are bringing clarity to this issue. God richly bless you. Now, Akwesi Echampon, he says, has anyone questioned Why, when the president decided Ghana should go to IMF, the release from Jubilee House said the president had directed the finance minister to begin processes and engaging with the IMF and not the vice president. The same people who are saying voting for Bawumia would mean voting for Akufo-Addo's third term are the same people who are bleeding because Bawumia clearly shows he is taking a different approach. Now, Joshua Kusi says, then by Article 58(4), there will be no sense comparing JDM as vice president and DMW as president, because if the president does not confer some responsibilities to any of the vice presidents, we will not get their works to themselves as vice president. Now, Dela Amekpe says, so Paul, the DMB know there was no collective responsibility when he posed over 100 questions to Emisa Arthur or lambasted JDM for his role as EMT chair. I don't believe the argument is actually about law, but about morality. Now, Real Max B says, in fact, Paul, you are too much. Teach them, because the intellectual dishonesty is killing the so-called civil society and the educated illiterate. Nyamene Hene says Dr. Bawumia has been instrumental in driving Ghana's digitalization agenda, promoting the use of technology to enhance governance, financial inclusion, and service delivery. And lastly, Thomas S.T. says Bawumia's display of his dishonest character and refusal to accept responsibility for his mess and failure as head of the EMT makes him unfit to become the president. He will even be worse than his inept boss, whom he doesn't want to be associated with today. After enjoying all the great opportunities and love from his boss, no one should take him seriously. His lies are too many and glaring to be glossed over. Only hired corrupt propagandists still support Bawumia. JM and the 24-hour economy are the choice of all patriotic and discerning Ghanaians. Angelo.
Some very hard words from the Prince Bansa, watching us from the University of Lincoln, says, Paul, if I hadn't seen the video, I would have thought you were joking. Yes, Fifi Kwetu contributed zero to the agriculture sector. As a matter of fact, the sector grew consistently at -2 or 3% when he was at the Ministry of Food and Agriculture. In short, he was only a square peg in a round hole in the Agric Ministry, but also a white elephant. Why are you surprised at his comments? Isn't he the same person who said Bawumia will never get to be the flag bearer of the NPP because he's from the north? And just so you know, his sordid performance as an MP was what got him out of Parliament prematurely as a first-term MP. His popularity in his constituency diminished to the extent that he has to advise himself not to contest just to save himself from further electoral embarrassment. A little bit of mischief from Prince. We also have Kamal Dean from Cheriponi saying, I don't understand how the NDC elected Fifi Kwetu over Otokuno and the Free Ankara. I told my friends the NDC has activated another 4 years of disaster after electing Fifi Kwetu as General Secretary. This message says, greetings to you and your noble team of excellence. The former President John Mahama is fighting a quote-unquote losing battle come 2024. Kindly invite the CEO of Valco, Honorable Chief Dantalsi Na Titus Glover, to your program. Greetings to Na Titus Glover. Also, this message says, Albert says, Bawumia's lecture has dazed Professor Gachi, Kobi Mensah, and Ransford Jampo to the extent that you can see them clearly talking with bitterness. I'm happy they're going through that pain. Guta President has lauded Bawumia, and that's what matters to me. Also quickly, Abdul Zati says, my regards to Mama G, Upper East Regional Women's Organizer. The Ray in Upper East Regional Office of the MPP was like Dr. Bawumia was in town and not on screen. Now on the speech and the organizers must be given credits. This year's election, I always say, is about credibility and intellectuals. And can you believe that? The vice president wrote and drafted the speech by himself, and that's what we call leadership of service. Yanum slept soundly, and I'll read the last two. We have from George. He says, as you rightly said, there's nothing like quote-unquote collective responsibility as far as Ghana's Fourth Republican Constitution is concerned. Most Ghanaians don't read, Rather, they feed on what, that's very harsh to say, George. He says, they feed on what propagandists put out there and spread falsehood to deceive the populace. Please, my humble advice is, let's all read to gain knowledge so we can differentiate between truth and falsehood, especially in this election year, so that we are not deceived. And lastly, our friend Sir Bright, watching us from Tangier Hill, says, in fact, Paul, President Akufo-Addo has once upon a time appointed President Rawlings and to represent Ghana at the funeral of President Mugabe in Zimbabwe. He also appointed President Kufuor, President Rawlings, and President Mahama to lobby African countries for the Africa Free Trade Center for Ghana, though President Mahama declined the request. Back to you, Paul.
Wow, that's interesting. There's one more message here I'd like to read. It says, your program should be coming on around 7 or 8 p.m., not 9, because it's too educative and enlightening, but the time makes it less attractive to young and middle class people. I think this group ought to be your priority in the political season. Carry on, my brother. You are educating the nation. Thank you very much. And then the name of the lady, Mika sent to me, is Claire Short, the lady who was campaigning for the presidency. Is Claire Short. Claire Short was the one campaigning for campaigning for HIPIC Initiative. HIPIC Initiative. Thank you, Dudu. HIPIC Initiative. Okay. So before we get, we've isolated some of the things Dr. Bawumia talked about that we will be sharing with you. He talked about the national service. He talked about the emission tax. He talked about passport. He talked about streaming of music, which I think was creative, innovative. We've been shouting about the music industry forever. Powerful. And talk about private sector participating in the roads so that we can sustain the roads and get it maintained all the time so government doesn't have the burden. And then he talked about my favorite topic, constitutional amendment. The way he diagnosed it was super. We'll get to all those bits and pieces of the things he said, and then we'll get Dudu's opinion on this one as well. But there's a popular request that we should show the Fifi Kwete montage again. People like it. So it's 5 minutes long. Here it is.
Very sorry for Dr. What's his name? Mahmoud Bawumia. Is that it? All he needs to do is to take a good look at what happened to Alhaji Aliyu Mahama. Is Mahmoud Bawumia actually dreaming that in the unlikely event of MPP winning power, somehow after Akufo-Addo had run his term, he, Mahmoud Bawumia, will be made a candidate of the MPP? Are you dreaming, Mahmoud Bawumia? Are you dreaming? You don't know the party in which you are? You don't understand that if you are not an Ashanti or Nachim, you have no chance?
I have always seen him as a man of destiny.
Not reaching, you need to do everything possible to ensure that that son of yours, that is an absolute disgrace and a humiliation to all of you, never rises to become the president of this country.
This young man delivered a paper at an international conference of giants from the city of London in financial world and some very powerful people of government. And immediately he finished his address, he was going to sit down, but there was something in his statement and about him. I was president of Ghana then. In fact, till then I hadn't even spoken with him ever before. But I sent somebody, I think one of the officers with me, go and call me that young man. He came, I congratulated him, and I don't know what came in me. Prophetically, I told him, carry on like that, and you'll go far.
not the region, you need to do everything possible to ensure that that son of yours, that is an absolute disgrace and a humiliation to all of you, never rises to become the president of this country.
Then, 2008, as I was stepping down and the party had chosen President, then candidate Akufo-Addo, who later became president. Somehow Akufo-Addo picked the same young man to be his running mate.
Is Mahmoud Bawumia actually dreaming that in the unlikely event of MPP winning power, somehow, after Akufo-Addo had run his term, he, Mahmoud Bawumia, will be made the candidate of the MPP? Are you dreaming, Mahmoud Bawumia? Are you dreaming? You don't know the party in which you are? You don't understand that if you are not an Ashanti or an Achim, you have no chance?
And then, at a party meeting in the Aliza Hotel, I remembered my first meeting with this young man in London and what I told him. Then it dawned on me again to more or less prophesy. I appealed to the party just to accept this man to carry on, man of destiny.
Not the region, you need to do everything possible to ensure that that son of yours, that is an absolute disgrace and a humiliation to all of you, never rises to become the president of this country.
I have always seen him as a man of destiny.
Please help Ghana so that that mistake is never made.
I have a very strong feeling he is truly the man of the moment and Ghana must accept him. So this is it. Thank you very much.
A big round of applause for His Excellency.
Welcome back to the show. Thank you very much. Dodo, we're observing the event. What do you make of it?
I think I was very happy when I heard President Kufuor was at the event because of late it's been difficult getting President Kufuor in NPP functions. Sometimes he will join by Zoom or he will send a message. But this one was there himself and the powerful speech that he gave. And I was also happy to hear Dr. Bawumia talking about issues of persons with disability regarding employment and even how we are schooling, special needs. In fact, I was very, very happy to hear him talking about issues concerning disability, which has been swept under the carpet by the media.
But I'm not sure the media will be happy if they hear
that. I'm disappointed in the media. I'm highly disappointed.
We haven't.
No,
even here on Good Evening Ghana, we've hosted.
You have done it, but other media houses, they talk about other issues, but they don't talk about what he said he will do for persons with disability, which is very, very bad.
The media broadcast, the media post-event, they are not discussing what he said he will do for disabled. They're just talking about e-learning.
And they are sweeping that one under the carpet.
Oh, I hope they are not. So tell us, what did he say about disabled?
Oh, he was talking about his plan, what he have for persons with disability and the special needs. You know, some persons with disability deserve a lot of attention. Me like this, I was in one school for 20 years because I was not able to use the braille. So if Dr. Bawumia is coming and he's having a plan for us, especially with his digitalization plans, I think we should all applaud him for that. And it should be a topic for discussion because I think he did not just read a paragraph on persons with disability. I think it was a whole page. I stand to be corrected. It's true. So I think it should be a topic for discussing the plans that he have for persons. Since this political season opened, I have not seen any presidential candidate coming clear with a vision for persons with disability and special needs. Apart from him and Honorable Kennedy Japon, I have not heard any of this presidential candidate coming out with any plan for persons with disability. So I think I should be applauding him for that.
I see. Generally, politically, from your own as a political scientist, what do you make of the event, the content, and how it's going to shape the campaign?
Oh, I think the event, first of all, he's telling you that yes, I'm a man who have arrived from Wale Wale. I'm a man of my own. I share the visions of my boss, the President Akufo-Addo. But there are certain things that if I have my own way, I will have done it differently. And I think that is not bad at all, because individuals, we are all different. You have your vision, I have my vision. Maybe your vision might be different from my vision. So he's telling you that no, there are certain things that President Akufo-Addo did that he's not saying they are wrong, but he will have done his differently. So that is what he's saying. And I think the man has really arrived, and we should applaud him for that. I hope 2024 campaign is going to be hot. So we are going to hear what I've not heard any clear response from the opposition yet. I'm yet to hear clear.
What has been responses? They said that he's running away from the mess and that.
But not official.
Oh, President Mahama has spoken about it. But the minority in Parliament have spoken about it. But where do you think that has put the campaign in terms of the contest between Dr. Bawumia and
President Mahama?
John Mahama?
Okay, President Mahama, when he started, they were talking about 24-hour economy. They were talking about how they would do. But everybody was saying we are waiting to hear what the Vice President would say. We are waiting to hear what the MPP will bring out. And now the MPP has also, Dr. Bawumia, has also brought out what he's doing. So he will do. So now we are going to weigh between Dr. Bawumia's ideas and President Mahama's ideas, and we'll see which ones will be better for Ghana.
So this is Dr. Bawumia's vision. Do you consider this as a vision?
Yeah, I consider it as a vision. And it is laudable and it's applaudable. And I've heard a lot of people, especially the National Service. I was not clear with when he said he will not make it compulsory, but I've listened to a lecture at UCC and he has explained it well, why he also agreed with Dr. Bawumia when he said that. Service. Yes, on the National Service.
Okay, let me get to the touch screen and do some short analysis before we then pick up the things that, did I leave my paper behind? Yeah, I need to bring it. It's in my constitution. Okay, alrighty. There we go. I told you it's going to be an interesting show. It's 18 minutes to the top of the hour, 10 o'clock, and there's something else I need to say about Dr. Bawumia. Before I show you the list of our selected national service, which Dodo just talked about, passports, he talked about it in a policy setting, private people, initiative in the rules, the constitutional amendment, the streaming of music, and the abolition of e-levy, emission taxes, and VAT on electricity. All of those important policy issues, we'll be discussing them. But there's something else I want to talk about, and please get me those NDC MPP flag and Dr. Bawumia John Mahama. Make it ready. I'll call for it. There's something I'm going to talk about. So, you see, you listen to Fifi Kwete, for instance, and you see the kind of disrespect with which he approaches Dr. Bawumia. And you watch Dr. Bawumia, and you see that apart from his education, which, of course, began in Sakasaka Primary School, he appears to be a very well-cultured man. And we were talking about that this afternoon, and then somebody brought out this tape. He said, oh, boss, this is your interview with him in 2011 or 2012. And he was talking in opposition about how politicians should not insult other politicians, why the contest should be about policy. And this is an opposition leader. So if you look at Dr. Bawumia in 2011 and see how he has progressed up until now, with that culture of, I'm not a politician to come and insult another politician. I can call somebody incompetent, but I'm not going to say somebody is a disgrace, he's a fool, he's stupid, Dr. Bawumia doesn't do, it doesn't come out of him. He represents the true politics of where we should be going, not where we are coming from. This issue of vitriol is terrible, and that's why they say Dr. Bawumia represents the future. Have a look at this one. This is me talking to you, but viewers, you have to forgive me on a few things when you see the video. Don't laugh at me or how I look, all that. Don't also laugh at our studio. I'll tell you the story. That day, Dr. Bawumia was traveling to Zimbabwe. By that time, he was doing the Zimbabwe work. He was traveling to Zimbabwe. And he graciously agreed with the interview, so we had to rush and get it together very quickly. He gave us a time. We were late, about 2 hours late when we went there. He was still very calm. I said, sorry, Veep. We used to call him Veep anyway. That time he wasn't vice president. He said, it's okay, but we have to hurry up. I really have to go. I said, I beg you, sir. He was happy with that. We put the interview together. And this is the extra to pick from it. It's relevant for the conversation of politics today. Have a look. Doc, somebody may say that welcome to the game. The last time you were nominated close to the time and you went straight into the politics of the mass rallies and all of that. But this time you have had the opportunity to speak about what you think is the state of the economy, and the attacks have started coming. Is it welcome to the political game for you? How do you relate to these attacks?
Well, I think one has to take a step back to see why these attacks are coming. Basically, I gave a lecture on the state of the economy, and I think it seems to have touched a nerve as far as the government side is concerned, because they touted major achievements in the economic record, and I think the lecture essentially put that record in tatters. And I think people are quite upset, and they've gone out in anger to attack me, and very little of attacking the substance of what I'm saying. So it is the way politics is done. You target people, target personalities, but don't deal with ideas. But I'm going to continually focus on ideas in this campaign, and the issues I raised are very relevant and will continue to be.
They have also responded substantively on the intellectual level. The Minister of Finance had a statement in the graphic, and I'll come to that in a bit. But for people like you who are either technocrats or people working outside the main political sphere, the concern has always been politics is a dirty game and that kind of thing. What kind of changes in our politics would you like to see now that you are in?
Well, I think even if I was not in, I would like to see changes in our politics to elevate the decency in our politics, to make politics a competition of ideas from different political parties. We essentially should think about a one Ghana concept. We are competing in the political space as part of the democratic process, but our competition is really with other countries outside Ghana, as I stated in my speech. Malaysia, Thailand, Indonesia, Singapore, South Korea, Brazil, China, these are our competitors. And so we have to think about politics in a very different way from the way we've been doing it. I like to think about it as a black stars concept, that in Ghana, we have different players as part of a team. Some are engineers, some are doctors, some are nurses, but the goals for us in the field of international competition. So I would rather people concentrate on, ideas. How are we going to change this country? How are we going to move this country, which has been independent for 55 years now? And we haven't solved very basic problems. Water is still a problem even in the capital city as we speak. Electricity, is still a problem. Without energy, there is going to be no industrialization. That is just a simple fact. So we've got to address, basic issues. Our inner cities, Choko, Nima, Aboboloshi, and all of that. Problems with just basic toilet facilities. This is the 21st century Ghana. So we need a new type of politics that moves us to address issues in terms of results, solutions to people's problems.
So you think the bygones should be bygones? From 2012 election, Dr. Bawumia wants us to rethink our politics. Is that the point?
Well, I think you can never forget the past, but I think the focus, the type of politics that we ought to be doing should be a politics of ideas, a politics of solutions. You can sit on the radio all you want and insult all you want. It doesn't solve somebody's problem of getting water. So why don't we just focus a little bit more with ideas, with cooperation on how to solve some of these basic problems. Many countries have solved the problem of water, for example, over hundreds of years ago. 2/3 of the water pipes that run the city of London are over 100 years old. 1/3 of them are 150 years old. In Rome, we are talking of so many, over 1,000 years old in some of the lines. So you really, it's not an issue of the technology not being available. So we've got to understand why is it that we are not able to do some of these things that other countries have been able to do. And I believe very, very, very fervently that what other countries have been able to do, Ghana should be, and we can do it if we bring our talents to bear and stop this type of divisive and very detrimental type of politics where you tear people down simply because they've said something that you find quite disagreeable, and you don't attack their idea, but you go ahead and attack their person and try to reduce their credibility and all of that. For me, it doesn't matter to me. Those things don't get to me. Someone was saying to me, that the tradition that is attacking me, I shouldn't worry because they don't even give that respect to their own founder. So I'm getting off lightly. So I'm really quite
very well said, though, Dr. Bawumia, very eloquently said. But this guy is such a sensible guy, man. Muhammadu Bawumia in 2011. I mean, this is such a well brought up guy. Those of you who have sons, don't you want your son to be like that? Don't you want your son to be granting an interview after he's given a lecture? He's been so heavily attacked. He says politics about the competition of ideas. So when you see Dr. Bawumia talking yesterday, he's not acting. He's not acting because he's looking for president. This has been his view way before 2011 and expressed on our show in 2011. How many years ago is 2011? Please calculate and tell me. That time, Dr. Bawumia was talking about the politics of ideas. He was talking politics of ideas before 2011 and clearly evidence in 2011. He has been thinking this idea. Somebody cannot stand yesterday and deliver as he did if he only thought about it the day before. A politician doesn't need to think about things the day before and then just go to the community and answer their question and say, I will do this, I will do that, I will change this, I will change that, just from the day before. This is a conceptualization of ideas of how to move a nation forward, developed by such a well brought up guy. Wow. Who shall we thank for this? Apart from Sakasaka Primary School and Tamale Primary School, Dr. Bawumia's mother. We have to thank her because normally it's the women who give the children the culture. The lady who brought up Dr. Bawumia, gave birth to her and raised him. God bless you now and evermore. That woman called Dr. Bawumia's mother, God bless you now and evermore. Look at what he's done with the son. Unfortunately, we don't have the mother's video, but we have Mumuni Bawumia's video. Those of you who don't know Mumuni Bawumia are going to see him for the first time in a video. We have it. Mumuni Bawumia's video at a state function here in Ghana, representing the Council of State as his chairman for Flight Lieutenant Rawlings' government. This is Mumuni Bawumia.
We now have the arrival of the chairman of the Council of States, Alhaji Mumuni Bawumia.
He, Mumuni, together with SD Dombo, founded and led the Northern People's Party in early politics. Their fundamental interest was
We now have the arrival of the chairman of the Council of States, Alhaji Mumuni Bawumia.
He, Mumuni, together with SD Dombo, founded and led the Northern People's Party in early politics. What can I say? Thank you very much, Mumuni Bawumia, but a greater thanks to the woman. The women are always more important in child upbringing. A greater thanks to the woman who made it happen. But Mumuni Bawumia, thank you very, very much. I'm going to now get Dodu to talk a little bit, but we are getting the Bawumia videos ready now from yesterday's event, and then we can see it. I don't know what to say. Ghana is blessed. Ghana is so blessed to have Dr. Bawumia. Whether he wins or he doesn't win, he represents the future of our politics. This ought to be the future. Let's take text messages now. What do you have to say, Fatih?
All right. Richard Watch says the truth of the matter is DMB has raised the campaign to a higher level and intellectual discussion. Louise Bennett says Fifi can't tell Nordness which of our sons is a disgrace. What credibility has he got? Who lies in this country more than Fifi? Now, Mubarak Sali says Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia has brought to light what solid education and knowing a subject matter does. DMB spoke and it appeared he has listened to the masses. Free SHS schools would produce more Dr. Bawumia. The youth must think deep. Parents, give your children good education and forget about wealth. Every Ghanaian, whether opposition or any other, knows that Bawumia spoke well. Nana Kwesi Mind says, good evening, Paul. Dr. Bawumia's comprehensive presentation yesterday has given Ghanaians his vision, even though he was elected some few months ago. But former President Mahama, who was elected about a year ago, is yet to tell Ghanaians his visions, but he goes about giving frivolous promises. Mankariku says Dr. Bawumia is a future president. He'll be a fantastic leader for Ghana. DMB has given us his vision now. Where is JDM? Alexander Sefa comes and says, clearly Dr. Bawumia is the right man to solve Ghana's problem. He has shown that digitalization is Ghana's solution and he is the hope. Haj Baba says, please kindly greet our unblemished Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia and the entire Elephant Party. I pray to Allah Almighty to grant us good health, long life and prosperity so that coming 7th December 2024, Ghanaians will officially endorse him, overwhelming for the betterment of this country. Lastly, Junior Akbar from Tamale says, it's a fact, if God bless somebody, nobody can spoil it. Because of Almighty Allah, Dr. Bawumia will be a visionary leader, critical thinker, and we really need to move this our great nation. It's possible. Antoinette.
Seems quite a number of people are pleased with the interview with Paul and Dr. Bawumia from 2011. Bekwe Boama Bernard says, wow, Paul, I think you should stream this particular interview every single time before your show, because this interview alone would make Bawumia president. And Nanama Fuapia says, wow, 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 I'm really impressed. Mr. Paul, well done for this video. It is very important for today's program. Nanama Fu says again, the visionary Dr. Bawumia. Now, coming from Osman, he says decency, competition of ideas, courage and boldness to finding solutions to big problems, and exhibition of knowledge, wisdom and character are things you cannot take away from Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. And I urge others to follow suit and allow Ghanaians to make a decision based on ideas, facts and data, and not that of insult, ethnicity or religious incitement. Evangelist Olonko says, may God Almighty be with you till this dream comes true, DMB. Now, Douglas 24 says, hope some of you young people here are listening to Bawumia's advice about politics of insult, even if you disagree with his party politics. Lastly, Kweku Asante, he says, in the John Mahama-led NDC administration, public workers were paid only for 3 out of the 12 working months. He couldn't fulfill the payments of teachers and nurses training allowances, even without any global crisis, yet he managed to increase his salary. Now he is promising to introduce a 24-hour economy. Does he have the funds to pay workers for the 24-hour economy? Think, because you don't have a short memory. Angelo.
Safianu Adam from Gariki Pusige says, the dexterity, agility, and the mastery with which Dr. Bawumia presented his speech yesterday was one of a kind. The deliverables in the delivery was packed, but yet looked simple for the assimilation of the average Ghanaian. He makes economics and digitalization sexy to seduce the ordinary. Interesting choice of words from Safianu Adam. Albert Ninoy, watching us from Grand Rapids in the USA, says, the show today is fantastic. Thank you, Albert. He says also, Dr. Bawumia is a game changer. His vision, as put forth yesterday, gives me hope for the future of Ghana. It's indeed possible. This is according to Albert. Lord, from the US now going to London. Hello, Lord. He says, I was really impressed by Dr. Bawumia's presentation. Here's the future. Okay. So this message is from Mohammed, watching us in La Paz. And he says, very importantly, I also attended Sakasaka School, and I'm proud of Dr. Bawumia. Mr. Paul, please, do you know the meaning of the name Bawumia? He says the meaning is, quote, they hear, unquote. So the NDC might not hear, but they watch his good works in Ghana when he becomes a president in Mother Ghana, inshallah. My greetings to Farouk Aliu Mahama in Yendi. Now, lastly, Ahmed, watching us from Tamale, says, as first son, you offer your advice to your father and he isn't obliged to take it. You can't also say he isn't father and leader of the house. Your ideas can be implemented when the father is no more, and then as first son, you head the family. Simple enough for the sharp-toothed babies. Back to you, Paul.
Okay, I got a message from Upper East. Some people in Upper East region, they say that they are crusaders for Good Evening Ghana. That's how they call themselves. Crusaders for Good Evening Ghana, Upper West region. Dr. Alhaji Bawumia delivered a victory speech in our humble opinion. Okay, that's what they say. All right, what's the time now? It's 11 o'clock. Let's get on. Two things we can do. We want to get on to do the Bawumia presentation. The things that Dr. Bawumia talked about that we thought were great, that we've isolated. I'm sure many of it you've heard already. And people too say that we should play the Fifi Kwete montage. Which one should we do? Fifi Kwete montage will be online. You can deal with it. You can deal with it yourself. Let's get to some of the videos and look at. Okay, because as time is running out, we'll pick one or two of them. So Dr. Bawumia talked. Maybe you can put a text on the emission taxes. He said that he's going to abolish the emission taxes that general public are not happy about. You can't blame the finance ministry for it. We are under an IMF program, so it's not all of these things that is controlled by the finance ministry, etc., etc. Okay, when you get there, let me know that you have the emissions tax. I'm sure some of you have seen this presentation. It's been going on social media quite a bit. It was prepared by the Dr. Bawumia people and I believe sent to media. Okay, it's going to take long for them to find it. Then let's take the video on the passport. What Dr. Bawumia said he was going to do about passport. Let's take the video. Let's show it.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have secured visa-free travel to a growing list of countries for the benefit of our citizens and businesses. However, the acquisition of passports by Ghanaians at home and abroad has continued to be difficult for many, even though it has significantly improved. So far, Ghana has about 4 enrolled on the Ghana card, which is also an e-passport. To make it easy for Ghanaians to obtain passports, under my government, any Ghana card holder will only have to pay a fee for a passport. You won't have to apply for a passport when you hold a Ghana card. If you are a holder,
we were invited to this program, and then I think it's laudable the idea you're trying to bring on board and then we think
powerful. This is because the
support any candidate who is coming.
It's a simple solution, isn't it? Dr. Bawumia is trying to digitalize this country, and I was telling a friend that the difference between us and the European countries often is, especially in our relationship with banks and how banks treat us, and whether the bank is going to give you money or they won't give you money, whether the bank will top up your salary or they won't top up your salary. The fundamental difference between us and Europe is not the availability of the money. There are Ghanaian banks that are richer than American banks. You didn't know that. There are Ghanaian banks at the end of the year, what they report, American banks don't report. But it is whether the bank can find you. That's why when you hear the advertisements of the banks on radio, they say salaried worker, because salaried worker, they can find him. Whether the bank knows where you are and they can find you and they know what activity you are conducting. If the bank doesn't know that, it's going to be very difficult for them to lend money to you. That's the problem. The problem of why we don't get the financing is the Ghana card and the address system. That our identification is complicated. When I stand before the bank, I say I'm Paul Ademoche and I go, they don't know anything. But now with Ghana card, they know my mobile money number. They know the transactions I did yesterday. They know the transactions I did tomorrow. With the Ghana card, they know other things I have done. If I've traveled and used the Ghana card, they know where I've gone. It's linked to my passport. So if I've traveled, they know. If I went to South Africa and came back, they know. So these are the things that help us to have a modern society. Before we can talk about 17-hour economy or 10-hour economy or 11-hour economy, however hours economy. I love 24. I don't know what you love. Before we can talk about that, we need to deliver these fundamental keys. Before we talk about slogan, if we don't deliver these keys and we talk about it, then it's sloganeering. It's not real. Akufo-Addo said 1 district, 1 factory. Was he sloganeering? I've already told you he will be in parliament. He's going to talk about what has happened to 1 district, 1 factory. I know one, Ekunfi Juice is producing, but that's a different matter. So this is why this Dr. Bawumia part of the conversation is exciting. He's now saying that with your Ghana card, everything about you is known. So you see, when you're looking for passports, because they don't know you, You have to go and fill this form, print that about. Now with the Ghana card in front of them, inside the Ghana card is you. You are standing in the Ghana card. The thing you did yesterday is in the Ghana card. When you take an Uber, it's in the Ghana card. When you pay something in Momo, it's in the Ghana card. So the Ghana card is you. So they don't need to have you there, come to passport office, go and come. That's why it says you pay a fee. But they need to go into the Ghana card and find out who you are. So that's the fee you pay. You pay a fee and then they deliver you a passport. That's the solution. That's a leader who thinks possibilities. He also spoke about national service. Let's have a look. National service.
Ladies and gentlemen, to help our youth get jobs, I believe it is time to rethink the concept of the current national service scheme. My government will propose that those who, after completion of their education, can secure jobs will be exempted from national service. National service will no longer be mandatory, and students will have the option to decide whether to do national service or not. This will also encourage companies to go to the campuses to recruit annually. This time they don't go because of national service.
Yes, that was Dr. Bawumia talking about national service. Another important idea. What's the philosophy of national service? National service came in when in 1982 or so, Ghana's cocoa was not being bought by the international community because there were sanctions on us. Flight Lieutenant Rawlings needed hands to clear the cocoa from their warehouses and bring them to the real side so that they can be shipped to Libya and Russia and those countries who will take it. So the students who were left university, getting ready, sixth form, getting ready to go to university, it was introduced that they should do this. A Champon has started it much earlier. And then graduates also, so you do national service twice, after sixth form and then after university. When senior secondary came, they decided there's no point, so they go straight to university. That's the national service matter. That's what it's about. So he's saying right now, you have so many private universities. A child goes to assessing university. Government has, but the national service thing was also because government was paying your school fees as a university person. So you pay back. Now government doesn't pay. The government's contribution to your education is almost negligible. You pay your residential user fees. You pay this, pay that, pay this. Those who've gone to private university, Methodist University, Pentecost University, Catholic University, Ashesi University, government didn't pay anything for them. But Dr. Bawumia is saying that if you want to do national service as a way of giving yourself some training before corporate work, it is available. But they ought not to be compulsory so that they are all clamping at government agencies. They all have to do national service. They are there. You go there. They are on the compound. They are waiting for their forms to be endorsed. Every institution has received more people than they can take. There's always crisis about national service. What is the point? Leadership thinks solutions. So he's saying that you don't need to do it. If you want to do it, yes, government will pay you to do it. But you don't need to do it. If you have some other vocation to start training on, you finish university, you want to learn how to make hair, go and learn how to make hair and set up. Nobody's going to query you for not doing national service. Just make sure you have your Ghana card so you can get a loan from the bank to do the business that you want to do after university, to add to society and add to the growth. You see, Dr. Bawumia talked about the Black Stars concept in the 2011 interview, so that we all together, hairdresser, doctor, lawyer, shoemaker, everybody working at the highest level, journalists, together we move the country forward. That's the point. This is policy. The difference between Britain and Ghana is policy. It's not money. It's not gold. It's not diamond. It's not money. It is brains that produce policy. And that should be the future of Africa. If we want to catch up with the digital divide, that should be the future. Electing leaders who have demonstrated that they can hold the brains to produce the policy and move the society to another level. Not those who want to bring the society down to everybody's level. Those who want to move the Ghanaian society to another level. I believe that's what Dr. Bawumia represents. As I keep saying, and I'll keep saying it, whether he wins or he doesn't win, Dr. Bawumia represents the future. That's where we need to get to. We need to have leaders who are like that. We need 10, 20, 30, 40 leaders who are all delivering policy initiatives, sound policy initiatives like that. Ahead of an election campaign. Our campaign needs to look global. People must tune into Ghanaian television to watch the beauty of the Ghanaian campaign, the competition of ideas in an African country. That's where we are going. And that's where, by the grace of God, we will go. And that's where Dr. Bawumia is leading us into. After this campaign, no politician can come and want to be president without disclosing his vision. Dr. Bawumia has clearly showed the way forward. A politician must have a podium, speak, and tell us his clear policy initiatives. That's what we need. That's the future of our country. Nothing more, nothing else. Dr. Bawumia talked about roads and how, looking at the deteriorating nature of our roads, we do the roads, they deteriorate. We do the roads, they deteriorate. Every sessional address, every president says, Mr. Speaker, we have paved 72,000 kilometers. Then the next sessional address, some of the, one day, many years ago on Good Morning Ghana, I think it was 2004 so, Kwesi Pratt Jr., they were going to read the budget. And then he took the budget. Those days the program was, I believe, hosted by Yaruka Sambata. Took the budget, some old budget. He said, look, since Kwame prepares budget, every budget has, Mr. Speaker, the Bawley Bamboy Road will be done. Then they say, yeah. Then the next year, Mr. Speaker, the Bawley Bamboy Road will be done. They say, yeah. Kwesi Pratt had traced it. That's the kind of journalism I applaud. Kwesi Pratt, sorry viewers, Kwesi Pratt had traced it. It was in every budget. Sorry. It was in every budget. Please get me water. It was in every budget since 1999. 99, 2000, 2001. Osafo was about to read it as well. So this issue about the roads thing, Dr. Bawumia is looking at it and saying that, well, we think that to maintain the road so that a president doesn't do 10 kilometers of road and another president come and do the same 10 kilometers of road and all that, let's have a situation where we bring private sector in. Let's have a look at it.
My administration, thank you, will incentivize the private sector to complement government in the provision of many infrastructure and other services to reduce government expenditure and improve maintenance. The private sector will be encouraged to build roads, schools, hostels, and houses for government to rent or lease to hold. The demand for roads construction is massive, and this has historically placed a huge burden on the budget. I believe that the private sector should finance the construction and maintenance of roads through PPP concession arrangements. Also, the government will move towards leasing rather than purchasing vehicles, printing equipment, and so on. The private sector will have the responsibility for maintaining the vehicles and the equipment. With this approach, government can save very significant outright cash out expenditure annually from various items across different ministries, departments, and agencies. This policy will energize the private sector and create many jobs.
This is indicative of somebody who has been in government, looked at the whole thing, felt that this is the solution angle we need to take. He's seen the budget of how every day we see it. Ministers go to buy 85 cars. 85 ministers mean 85 Land Cruisers. They are polluting, blah, blah, blah. But Bawumia says he's introducing a new concept. All these cars are on lease. They are maintained by the person leasing. That's a job. So government doesn't take the money and go and buy from a Toyota company or whatever company. The lease person goes, is leasing cars to government. He has a contract to lease cars to government, and he's maintaining them. He's going to build a garage. He's going to train Ghanaian engineers to maintain the cars. He's going to have them ready. By the time he finishes, we've created an automobile industry that is growing. Big on in automobile industry. It's growing, it's growing, it's growing. That's how we grow the system. We're going to grow mechanical engineers. They'll have a lot of jobs to do. You finish school, you're a mechanical engineer. There are so many garages because all the government ministries are being supplied cars from leasing companies. There are 25 leasing companies, and they all employ 100 electrical, mechanical engineers. So out of that, 25 times 100, that's the kind of engineers we're employing. So we are doing STEM. We are connecting education to the future. We are doing STEM education, creating scientists who will be able to solve these problems. That is the vision of a thinker. A leader who is a thinker. That's what it means. This is a leader who is thinking solutions and is thinking possibilities. What else do you want? This is the kind of leader that can lead a country like an African country out of the situation of post-COVID and post all the crisis in the world that has turned every economy into darkness. This is the kind of leader you need, the one with the vision, the one who's telling you, I don't want honeymoon. I don't need it. I'm hitting the road running because I'm in this saddle. I know where we are going. We have achieved so much, but there's somewhere we can go, and I'm taking you there. That's leadership. And we need that from every political party. We don't need that from only MDC. We don't need that from any MPP. We need it from all the political parties so that our campaign will be about issues. That's what we want our campaign to be about, issues. Not somebody's a disgrace. It's a disgrace. In northern region should not vote for somebody because he's a disgrace to the northern region. But if he's a disgrace, is he a disgrace only to northern region? He's a disgrace to all of us because he's our vice president. We elected him twice. He's a disgrace to Ashanti region. It's a disgrace to Eastern region. It's a disgrace to Volta region. It's a disgrace to Greater. It's not only a disgrace to the northern region. Kind of politics we don't want. We don't want that kind of politics. We want the politics that is supplying ideas. When the General Secretary of the NDC stood in that situation, instead of calling somebody a disgrace who shouldn't be voted for, he should have been churning out ideas to the people of the North. Now look at Muhammadu Bawumia, he didn't do anything for you. When you elect John Mahama, this is how we're going to pave the road. We'll put a cement factory here so that it can feed this one. We'll do this here so that it can do that. We're going to change your agriculture. Our policy for agriculture is that Parliament is going to pass a law. That law will say so and so. That's what Fifi Kwete should have been telling the people of the North. Not to stand there and say that somebody is a disgrace. It's a disgrace. We don't want that kind of politics. We don't want it. We want the politics of ideas and competition. Finally, Dr. Bawumia spoke about constitutional amendment, one of my favorite topics. This is what he said.
I believe that when it comes to a national development plan, I believe we can find broad contours of a national development plan for which we can find consensus in areas such as education, health, industrialization, environment, and so on. I will support a consensus national development plan. Specifically, I will propose to amend Article 87 of the 1992 Constitution, as well as the NDPC Act, Act 479, to mandate political party manifestos and consequently economic and social policies of governments, as well as budgets, to be aligned to the agreed upon broad contours in specific sectors. Ladies and gentlemen, the current constitution was designed
Sorry, I think the tape on the Constitution didn't quite end. Did it end? It didn't end well. We'll re-edit it and bring it to you. But he was talking about the fact that the current Constitution was designed for economic stability, which is perfectly true. I never thought about it like that. I mean, we've been talking about a Constitution designed for Rawlings and all of that. But the altruistic value of what the people there did in making it for Rawlings was to design it for stability. I think that is true. It's the first time I'm seeing that, so that all the executive power is granted to the president. The things we've been complaining about was so that it will generate stability from the transition from a military ruler to a civilian ruler, and then we can take it from there. Fantastic analysis. Dr. Bawumia, who's not a lawyer, is looking at the Constitution in a way that many lawyers have not looked at. The 1992 Constitution, the problem with it is that it was designed for stability. Stability now having been achieved, we need to retool the Constitution to design it for development. This guy is just too intelligent. I don't know what else to say. Dr. Bawumia is just too intelligent. He's such a kind of great leader we need. But Fifi Kwete has other ideas. Let's listen to Fifi Kwete small, and then we'll come and wrap up on this program. It's been a fantastic show. I've been so excited after I saw Dr. Bawumia yesterday and I listened to his speech. Damn, I've been terribly excited. But here's a montage again. I'll take my seat and be having a chat with Dodo, and then maybe we'll take some text messages. But this is it again. Have a look.
Very sorry for Dr. What's his name? Mahmoud Bawumia. Is that it? All he needs to do is to take a good look at what happened to Alhaji Ali Mahama. Is Mahmoud Bawumia actually dreaming that in the unlikely event of MPP winning power, somehow, after Akufo-Addo had run his term, he, Mahmoud Bawumia, will be made the candidate of the MPP? Are you dreaming, Mahmoud Bawumia? Are you dreaming? You don't know the party in which you are? You don't understand that if you are not an Ashanti or Akim, you have no chance?
I have always seen him as a man of destiny.
Not the region, you need to do everything possible to ensure that that son of yours, that is an absolute disgrace and a humiliation to all of you, never rises to become the president of this country.
This young man delivered a paper at an international conference of giants from the city of London, the financial world, and some very powerful people of government. And immediately he finished his address, he was going to sit down, but there was something in his statement and about him. I was president of Ghana then. In fact, till then I hadn't even spoken with him ever before. But I sent somebody, I think one of the officers with me, go and call me that young man. He came, I congratulated him, and I don't know what came in me. Prophetically, I told him, carry on like that, and you'll go far.
Not the region, you need to do everything possible to ensure that that son of yours, that is an absolute disgrace and a humiliation to all of you, never rises to become the president of this country.
Then, 2008, as I was stepping down and the party had chosen President, then candidate Akufo-Addo, who later became president, somehow Akufo-Addo picked the same young man to be his running mate.
Is Mahmoud Bawumia actually dreaming that in the unlikely event of MPP winning power, somehow, after Akufo-Addo had run his term, he, Mahmoud Bawumia, will be made the candidate of the MPP? Are you dreaming, Mahmoud Bawumia? Are you dreaming? You don't know the party in which you are? You don't understand that if you are not an Ashanti or Akim, you have no chance?
And then, at a party meeting in the Aliza Hotel, I remembered my first meeting with this young man in London and what I told him. Then it dawned on me again to more or less prophesy. I appealed to the party just to accept this man to carry on, man of destiny.
Not the region, you need to do everything possible to ensure that that son of yours, that is an absolute disgrace and a humiliation to all of you, never rises to become the president of this country.
I have always seen him as a man of destiny.
Please help Ghana so that that mistake is never made.
I have a very strong feeling he is truly the man of the moment and Ghana must accept him. So this is it. Thank you very much.
A big round of applause for His Excellency.
Adenta parliamentary candidate for the MPP, Madam Kozi Ozimenu. Good evening to you. I hope you're watching. Dodu, final remarks.
Okay, my final remarks is that I think we have heard from Dr. Bawumia. He has given us a 2 hour. I think when I check it was 2 hours 57 or 58 minutes lecture. We also want to hear from President Mahama and the other candidates. I think President Mahama is also telling us about he doing building Ghana tour. He goes here, said something. The next day he will say, "I'll rebuild Black Star." I think he should come with a clear vision and also tell us what you will do for persons with disability. It's not just a matter of making a disabled a minister. That doesn't solve problems facing persons with disability. You come up with a clear vision on what you will do for persons with disability. Thank you, Mr. Mahama.
Let me take one line of text messages from our social media editors, and then we'll be calling it a day tonight.
Yeah. Okay, so Mahama Mumuni here says NDC should rather keep quiet and stop selling their ignorance to the world. Bawumia has set the pace for Mahama. Mr. Paul, may Allah bless you and your entire family. Antoinette, what do you have first?
Abdullah Muntaka, he says it's been over 24 hours since the erudite V presented his vision in a clear and concise manner, and still we haven't heard of anything meaningful by way of rebuttal from the NDC. It's been the usual hurling of insults on the person of Bawumia, and in a litany of boring jokes from their camp. The NDC needs to be serious as a political party. They need to wake up and smell the coffee. This is 2024 and not 2004. Angelo.
Okay, our last message for tonight is from Obama, watching us from Kehutafo. He says, Bawumia's super ideas combined with his sterling records have made breaking the 8 so simple. This according to Obama. He continues, the NDC members have been put into perpetual hibernation after Bawumia's speech. Before the real 2024 game will begin, the NDC will be like an endangered species. Very bold words. He continues, every time demands its leader. This time is Bawumia's time, and ends by saying, Ghanaians have no time for honeymoon leaders. Back to you, Paul.
So I'm just texting back Alexander Fenyo Markin. I said, hey, I did for you, leader. He says, I never miss your program for anything. Alexander Fenyo Markin, thank you very much for watching. He's a Winneba MP. He will win. Do you know Alexander Fenyo Markin? Yeah.
Oh,
he's a very serious MP.
Yeah, since he took the seat 2012, his vote has been improving. And I know 2024, he will even get 85 to 90%.
And then he may become majority leader if the party.
He's likely to become a majority leader in the next parliament because we are not going to have Oseche Mensah. And he has grown, and if you listen to his argument, fantastic. And I'm very, very proud of him. I know he will definitely become the majority.
Where would you vote this year?
I'll vote in the Buakwa South, Siakwa. I wish I would have transferred my vote to vote for Akusia in Adenta.
So that would be good.
Yeah.
So maybe you should transfer your vote and vote for Adenta.
Yeah.
Okay, viewers, it's been a good time with you. Thank you for staying with us up until 11:28 on next week Tuesday, is it? Yes, next week Tuesday we come up with another edition of the program. The big story is at the weekend is the African Cup of Nations. May the Super Eagles win. Good night.